Well, hey now, everybody. It's the Rob from Kiss 106 and 103gbfrocks.com. Alongside my tag team partner in podcasting, please welcome to the show the first ever pregnant champion, Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
The greatest love that's ever been.
Yes, that exists between you and I, pal.
Yes, it does. It is my wife and my 14th anniversary today, but I still would take my love with you over that.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, sure. It's the Ivory anniversary, so I got her a bar of soap.
I was there on the day of your wedding. You
absolutely were. I looked much different then.
You threw me back in the cheap seats, I remember.
Oh boy, pal.
I had you right there up on the stage with me.
I got married not long after you and I became close. Like, you and I weren't close when I first decided to get married. And so if I were to get married now, like the next time I get married, you're going to be the one beside me.
Okay, sure.
On the next one.
Okay. I'm looking forward to part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, you won't have to hold your breath. I don't know how.
Well, I'll miss Feud of the Year. It sounds like if you only watch this show, you guys are having a great time.
Sure. I mean, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Tonight's Tuesday?
Oh, I'm not getting any. Pal.
How do you know?
So we went to a luau on Saturday night, and I found myself in the weeds with the blue drinks, and I tried to smash, and she tried to let me. But I got the old whiskey Benunzo.
Oh, did you really?
And it was like, I mean, it was one of those where like the flag went up the pole, but nothing ever happened. And like it was like, I mean, by the end of it, it felt like a Raw. Like it felt like WrestleMania. It was just like 3 hours too long.
Oh, getting old sucks, Jer.
Everybody was sore. Like I faked it at the end. I was like, "Oh, yay!" I just had to go to bed.
We are off and running this morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Wow, this was Saturday night.
Happy anniversary, babe.
Happy anniversary to the Valeris. 14 years of love.
She said something to me the other day. She was like, I think I might be going through menopause. I think that, and I was like, that's sex without a condom. And she was like, that's the most inappropriate thing to say, but it's true.
Well, it's true. And isn't she way too young for that?
She's going to be 42, pal.
And doesn't that happen? Like she's probably got another at least 7 years, I would think.
3 or 4 years, 5 years. I don't know when it's supposed to actually happen. I mean, I don't know anything about the vagina. I know nothing about it.
It's around 50, I think. It's like 47 will be, I think, the early end. Hold on, let me just Google something here real quick.
I don't know anything about it. All I know is that I always thought they'd look better than they do.
What? You thought what did?
The stuff, the business.
When do women go through menopause? Let's see what
the diamond cutter. Bang! I always thought the diamond cutter would look. I don't know.
The age at which a woman starts having menstrual periods. Okay, hold on a second. All right, most women reach menopause between the ages of 45 and 55. So I was right when I said 50.
So she's got a couple years, yeah, at least until that happens.
Okay, so, yeah, okay, all right. So maybe who knows? Who knows what's happening?
It might be something really terrible. In which case, again, my next wedding, pal, you're on the stage with me.
I'll be looking forward to it. I'll be there. Mark me down as a yes.
Okay.
All right. As much as I would just love to keep, I mean...
She'll at least get a graphic before the podcast. We'll give her a graphic.
In loving memory?
Sure. I don't know if we'll all come out on stage. I don't know if she'll get the bells, but we'll definitely put a package together.
I think she's earned it.
Earned it.
Oh,
earned
God,
it. She's earned it.
I literally have tears in my eyes. You are killing me today.
Happy 14th anniversary. We're talking about my wife's dying.
I wasn't talking about dying.
Well, no, I was.
Oh. I was just talking about divorce.
Oh, I mean, that's likely too. Who knows?
And equally romantic.
All roads lead to you standing next to me in the church. Okay? That's how that goes.
Happy anniversary to the Valeries.
Happy anniversary. Feud of the year.
I watched Raw last night. Did you?
I did. And I'm curious what you think.
I did not. I thought Raw was all right last night. If you want me to, I'll just come out and say it.
I thought Raw was great.
I think it was a 2019 really solid Raw.
I thought it was a 2019 great.
I thought it was productive and entertaining. I thought match quality was good and built towards things. And we can get down into the nitty-gritty of it here, but it sounds like we're coming from the same place. We both thought it was a good show.
We are. And I kept waiting for it to not be. Like, I kept waiting. Like, we've seen this already. Like, the opening segment happens, and boy, that 24/7 stuff was a lot of fun. Like, the whole night, that was just so much fun. And I was waiting for that to just get stupid, and it didn't. And then we go to the gauntlet, and you and I don't really love gauntlet matches, but the match quality was so good that, like, you can forgive it.
Absolutely. That was my thing. And not only that, like, gauntlets were, you know what? I was going to say gauntlets were being used as a crutch, but that was really not that long ago. And I still think we're in that era, I guess. But you're right. It was entertaining, at least.
It was entertaining. I don't understand why they needed to do it again, because Ricochet's already had like one of those high stakes matches and won it. For him to get I didn't think it would be that hard for him to get a rematch with AJ Styles, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, he just lost the title, and I mean, like, even if they just came out and said with a graphic, this has been signed AJ and Ricochet at SummerSlam, like, that would have made sense to us.
It would have made sense, but they do have to fill 3 hours, so
yeah.
they gave us a quality match, and you get to see Andrade and Ricochet in the same ring together, and that's a lot of fun.
I liked the length of time Mysterio is still on top of his game. Since he's returned, he's had some really good matches with people like Andrade, with people like Cesaro. I've been really enjoying his work.
They're booking him as like the typical like nostalgia WWE old guy putting people over, but if they wanted to, he could go. I think he could have a run in him, a big one, but I don't think they'll give it to him. But I think he could have one because he looks as good as he ever did, and he's moving great.
Well, that's one of the benefits of being a mass wrestler, is that you can look as good as your outfits.
Yeah, you can look as good as your body is.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So, I kind of wanted to start with the 24/7 stuff, I guess. At least that was how things started chronologically. It was a weird start to the show with like the mosh pit gauntlet thing. Like, it was kind of a weird, no one knew what was going on kind of thing.
So we're now calling lumberjack matches mosh pit matches, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, they weren't allowed to really interfere until the match was over. I do love the gimmick. Because we were sitting on the couch and Brittany was like doing something and she's all pregnant and just didn't feel like getting up to turn the TV off or on in the bedroom. So she's watching it and she got a chuckle out of, there was a comment, I think it was Michael Cole or Corey Graves said, it's like that Drake Maverick has not yet consummated his marriage. And then someone's like, it's until he has that 24/7 championship. What a really funny angle for this. Yeah,
he needs it to have sex with his wife for the first time. I think it's amazing.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and then we're all building to his wife already having consummated with R-Truth.
Is that where we're going, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think so, because that would make R-Truth too much of a heel.
Would it?
You're right. This day and age, would it?
I don't even know. I don't even know. So, yeah, and then I don't remember where did this fall in line chronologically? Because the next thing I wanted to hit was what happened next with Maria and Mike. So Mike got out of the match. Mike Kanellis got out of the match with the championship, which is also ridiculous because no one could see if R-Truth's shoulders were down. And if anything, how could you anoint one person to have won that dog pile? But okay, Mike Kanellis squeezes out with the 24/7 championship, goes to, he's so proud of himself. He can finally tell his wife he did something right. I won the 24/7 championship, and she just treats him like a dog.
Like garbage, and tells him to lay down for her.
And he does. And she wins the 24/7 championship. And this now brings a whole new level of the 24/7 championship, because now we've got not only a woman, but a pregnant woman holding that title. Where do we go from here? It's not, I don't even.
I mean, it's our first pregnant champion, and she's daring the locker room to take it from her. She's taunting Braun Strowman. She's making fun of all of them, saying, you're not going to do anything. I'm pregnant. And so, like, it's like such a villain. She's become such a villain in 4 short weeks.
And she's such a hot villain.
She's great. She's great looking. They're spotlighting just how underutilized she and Mike had been since coming over. Like,
and that's clearly, a Heyman thing, man.
Yeah. They clearly could have done something with them sooner, but they're doing something now. Now, what you just described is stuff that happened over a big, long period of time. I mean, it starts with the mosh pit, and then we do some other stuff, and then we sprinkle in the Maria, and then, that takes a while to get through. So I like how they intersperse the 24/7 title throughout the show. They've done a good job of that.
Absolutely, and it's so different than the other programming on the show, and it's fun, and it's a little like, it's just comic relief, and it's working for me. Hey, someone correct me if I'm wrong. My wife said she's not really pregnant, is she? And I said, no, she is. She is pregnant, right? In real life?
I think that's going to be the story. And I think it's not going to be like Alita pregnant and then we kick a baby into the crowd, Gene Snitsky. But I do think we're going to find out she's been manipulating and lying the entire time. And that's when she loses the belt. That's when things with Mike get tense. Because remember, she yells, I'm pregnant, in the middle of a match to keep from getting her ass kicked by Becky Lynch.
Yes.
And then from there on, she's been using the pregnant card when it suits her. But I'm guessing she's not going to be pregnant.
Okay, but my understanding is in real life, she's shoot pregnant. But I might be wrong about this.
I don't know.
Can anyone watching confirm? I would appreciate it.
She's not showing shoot pregnant, but
well, you don't.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So anyway, and I had an idea about this. This is just one from my own brain. Didn't see this one anymore, but I have an idea how her reign might come to an end.
Spill it.
So she very casually said on Thursday, she has an appointment with her OBGYN. I think something will happen at the OBGYN.
Because she lies down and they start taking an ultrasound and someone comes and lays on top of her.
Whether it be the OBGYN, whether it be a wrestler dressed up as an OBGYN, whether a wrestler just sneaks, I don't know. I just see it ending at the OBGYN.
There is definitely a way. I don't know how you pay it off when it's done. But technically, if she's lying on her back, the fetus could become the 24/7 champion.
Oh, my God.
See,
God! I didn't even go there.
Oh, I just had a Vince Russo idea, pal.
That is a Russo idea. Jerry, you just Russo'd us.
I came up with my very own Russo.
Did you hear on the last episode of Something to Wrestle With? It was pretty good. It was a hashtag love to know. And I can't believe this is even a question, a thought in people's head. But the question was Vince Russo a positive or a negative to wrestling? And to me, I'm just like, I can't even believe that's a question.
He's done himself no favors by being unlikable. And that's all it is. Like, he wrote some really good television, and he also wrote some really bad television. What's funny is we don't know the names of writers now to attach them to some of this garbage that we kind of get force fed. So we just blame McMahon. But with Vince Russo, it was at a time where he's getting all the credit, but then he got all the blame. I don't know why Ed Ferrara doesn't get any of this vitriol. I don't know why it's all Vince Russo. Maybe it's because he put himself on TV too much. I don't know why they hate him so much. He is a dick, but I think he did great stuff for wrestling.
Yeah, I do too. I know that he was capable of, good and bad, of both extremes. But when you watch what he did in the Attitude Era, my God, I don't know how anyone can even ask the question. Yeah, I'll admit he what's that?
How did Bruce answer the question?
He kind of punted. He gave a political answer, and he said he had a good 2 years. He had a good 2-year run, which also isn't wrong. But I don't see, I don't know. I think he doesn't get enough credit still.
The same could be said for Eric Bischoff. I think Eric Bischoff actually gets too much credit.
I don't know, man. That end up you know what though? That's it. When Eric Bischoff was on, just like Russo, he was on, and then there'd be sometimes, boy, there are some similarities there, Jer.
There's a lot of similarities for me. The only big difference is Vince Russo had more than one fabulous idea. Eric Bischoff had one great idea that spawned other good ideas. NWO was like, I guess if you're going to only have one great wrestling idea, let it be the NWO.
That's probably selling him short.
Is it? Because that's where I have his legacy, with one great idea. And Vince Russo actually said the same thing.
I mean, when you look back on and this is a legit question, because I wasn't really watching pre-NWO, or even at the NWA's height, I was usually mostly watching Raw. But weren't there other good things happening? Like, wasn't Goldberg, even though we didn't care for him, like that was a good thing?
Was Goldberg before the NWO? I didn't think it was.
It was during, but it was a Bischoff deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Russo deal. And what about, like, I don't know, the Giant and Diamond Dallas Page and the Cruiserweights, even though that's also a love-hate thing. While he didn't give them enough exposure, he also gave them more exposure than anyone else did.
He did. I mean, he gave the Dean Malenkos and the Eddie Guerreros and the Chris Jerichos more TV time than Vince ever would have given them if Vince had the choice.
And I know people might be saying Paul Heyman and ECW, but look, Paul Heyman and ECW in 95 putting some cruiserweights on is much different than Nitro doing it on TNT.
I also read, speaking of Paul Heyman, nobody really knows for sure, but I guess this past Raw was the most heavily Paul Heyman influenced Raw to date.
The one last night?
Yes.
Boy, it's weird because it feels like that first one had his fingerprints all over it.
Sure did. I think when people report on this, they don't know. They don't know who's involved with what.
So let's keep going on what else we liked about Raw, or just in general. I have when do women? It's all menopause stuff on my screen right now.
Nice.
Let's save the Brock stuff till the end, because I think we're both probably going to react to that. Okay, so 24/7 stuff. Ricochet wins the.
I thought the Triple Threat Tag Team Championship match was great, and now the OC has a championship. Gallows and Anderson, new tag champs. I thought that was a fun match.
It was interesting. I don't know why, but when the match was going on, and even through the pinfall, I did not realize it was a title match. And even after they won, I didn't process until that the segment with AJ right after it that they had won belts. I think it's good that all three of them have belts right now. Yeah. And I don't know if it will be short-lived or not, but it's everyone was kind of worried because we're used to this happening. Like, they yank the carpet from under us, that they'll put some effort into this and then they'll stop. And it will just be AJ again. Yeah, if they don't hit the brakes, that would be good. If we're saving the Brock stuff for last, then there's two other things I think that I would talk about. One of them being the Samoan Summit, which ended up being the main event. Okay, let's talk about it. I surprisingly liked it. Like, if you had told me the show's going to end with Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe and Cedric Alexander and Drew McIntyre and the OC and the Usos, I probably would have rolled my eyes. But watching it, everybody looked good in this, and it was really well done and well put together, I thought. You know who stood out to me? It was Cedric.
I was going to say Samoa Joe too. I mean, he's just he's doing great stuff. But Cedric looked like he belonged in there, didn't he?
He did. And I also want to say that, listen, we've given Roman Reigns a lot of flack on this show, but I've been consistent when I say this is where I like him. Just in a story-driven feud, not chasing a title, I really can appreciate Roman Reigns in a spot like this.
It's where the crowd likes him too. I mean, he's getting the face reaction that they've always wanted him to get, and his star power is undeniable right now.
Yeah, so this is working for me. And if you remember when after Raw came to Evansville, probably almost 2 years ago now, or around 2 years ago, I was raving a Roman Reigns Samoa Joe match. I was just singing its praises the next day.
Yeah.
And
we were also talking about the breakup of Enzo and Cass.
And look at them now.
Enzo and Big Cass.
Enzo, yeah, with the capitals. It's so weird.
Sure.
Man, have they not just unraveled?
They're a mess. I keep hearing they might go to AEW. I don't believe it.
I don't know that they would do well there.
I don't think so either.
We're getting closer and closer to that. I mean, tomorrow's the last day of July, so let's just say, okay, so what? Thursday's August. All we got is September, and then the beginning of October, we got AEW, pal.
October 2nd. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to see what their production looks like.
I intend to watch.
I do too. Wednesday night, and what's nice is it's not like it goes up head to head with NXT because NXT's on the network. I can watch NXT the next day. It's not like it was in the Monday Night Wars where like I had to flip back and forth. There's no flipping needed. Yeah,
and even if it was head to head, it's with DVR and technology anymore. It's not.
Right.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see what AEW cooks up and whether it turns into legit competition or not. I think it can still go either way, but I can't imagine the product being that bad.
I don't think it'll be all that bad. I'm excited for it. I hope it does well. I really, really want it to do well.
All right, so the Samoan Summit was the first of two things you want to talk about. What's the other?
Something conspicuous by its absence.
Oh, go ahead.
For the first time, unless I missed something, for the first time in like 3 months, no Bray Wyatt, no Funhouse, no Fiend, no Puppet.
We don't need it. We don't need it. We've got. I don't want to say closure. We've got the next chapter booked.
Slow burn it. No need to put them on both shows now.
No, if they would have,
we see him tonight. We'll see him tonight.
Maybe, but if we would have seen him do the same thing that he did the last 2 weeks, last night, I think that would have been unnecessary.
I was curious what was going to happen because it's not like Finn Balor's even on Raw. So I was curious if they would use him or not.
It matters.
Yeah, like it matters. So I was waiting because they put him on Raw and everyone's talking about it, and I know that they want to just give people what they want on Raw and get the ratings up. But I'd be okay with just seeing him tonight, and I'm sure what we see tonight isn't going to be anything big. It's going to be quick. They're just going to remind you what's happening.
I don't even know that we'll see anything. I don't know that we need more.
Might get like a flicking with the Fiend.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think they'll do nothing.
Okay, interesting. I don't know. I think either way, I guess like maybe Finn could be cutting a promo about this, and then maybe Bray does it again. But again, I think it might just be circling the wheels. I think that just might be overkill. Yep,
I wouldn't mind seeing Finn backstage, and then Puppet just show up.
That's a step backwards.
Not for me. Not for me.
All right.
Something.
Do you want to talk about the women at all? I thought it was a low point of the show. I actually fell asleep.
The moment of bliss was the Drizzlin' Poops, and I just don't buy Natalya with Becky Lynch.
The Drizzlin' Bliss.
The Drizzlin' Bliss. I'm sorry, and I like Alexa Bliss.
So then I guess that brings us to... I'm trying to think of how we got here. Okay, so I was going to say we forgot to talk about Dolph Ziggler, but we didn't because Dolph Ziggler is involved in this Brock Lesnar thing, isn't he?
Right. And it looks to me like, I mean, are we really going to have Shawn Michaels return to take on Dolph Ziggler? Because Dolph Ziggler, now for the second week in a row, is doing something with Shawn Michaels. He comes out to his music and starts dancing around like Shawn Michaels.
Well, I'm gonna double down on what I said last week, and you were with me. The sheet that I read from CBS Sports thought that it was building to a Dolph Ziggler Shawn Michaels feud. Maybe it is, but I'm still not there. I'm with you. You said if Shawn Michaels comes back for a match, it's not going to be with Dolph Ziggler.
It can't be. It can't be. But then they do it this week, and I'm like, okay. I still don't think it can be. But now, if Shawn Michaels shows up next week and cuts a promo on Dolph Ziggler, this is where we're going.
Well, if it happens next week is the last. SummerSlam is the 11th.
Yeah.
There's one more Raw before SummerSlam.
So I still don't believe it, but I mean, I've been wrong before. I can't out-dumb the WWE on some stuff.
I'm with you. I'm doubling down. I mean, it certainly could happen, but I don't see Ziggler and Michaels happening at SummerSlam 19.
But it did pop the crowd and then give Ziggler that heel heat when he was like, "You're not getting what you really wanted here. You thought, what, you think you were getting a surprise Shawn Michaels? Wrong. Me."
Ziggler is my dude. I love when Ziggler's on my screen. Last night was another great example of it.
And then Seth Rollins comes out, and is it just me, or has he somehow gotten unover?
I think it's just you. I mean, if anyone else wants to say that I'm wrong, please correct me. But I'm not getting that vibe.
He's getting booed a bunch, and by the end of the night, the crowd was chanting for him to get beat up more. Maybe that's just the crowd. I thought that was interesting.
Brock Lesnar is a beacon of hope. Brock Lesnar is an example of what a champion should be.
It's such a heel.
Brock, listen, it's hard to root against Brock.
Sure.
So
it's really not. And that's why when they're yelling one more time, I'm like, that's not the reaction the WWE was expecting. Couldn't be.
Look, everyone knows Little Rock, Arkansas is a wrestling town. They've got their own personality.
Philly. I expect it from Philly. But when Little Rock's doing it, I'm like, what? This is the home of Bill Clinton.
I love that Little's in their name. Like, I just like it's not just, it's a Little Rock.
Little Rock. It's a Little Rock.
It's a little baby rock.
It's not a big rock. It's not a stone by any chance.
So I know how much you love spectacle, violence, all sorts of chaos. What'd you think?
I loved it. You know me, man. Lay him in. Stiff as it gets. Bleeding from the mouth. Kayfabe or not. Let's do this.
Everything looked like it hurt really bad.
I think everything hurts really bad. I think that when you look at Brock Lesnar's matches now compared to when he broke in, he either got really good at looking like he's laying them in, or he just lays them in. Like, he takes stiff to a new level. If you're going to work a program with Brock Lesnar, you're gonna feel it.
I heard that you took stiff to a new level this weekend.
It just never stopped.
I'm just kidding.
So stiff.
I agree.
Buddy, I laid it in.
I'm with you. Hey, pal, I understand.
That was no working. They were definitely working punches because there was no shooting.
God,
no shooting to be done. That was not a shoot.
I mean, listen. At least you can blame it on the alcohol.
Right.
Let's just hope that that stays the excuse.
I was looking for a little color.
What color were you looking for? Don't answer that. So
opaque.
It's the Ivory anniversary.
It's the Ivory. It's the Ivory anniversary.
Yeah, I agree with you. We should get out of here just because we're getting way off the rails. But I agree, especially when he did the F-5 onto the stretcher. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was really good.
I love the imagery of when Brock was standing in front of the ambulance. The ambulance was moving, and Brock wouldn't move, so the ambulance driver had to stop. And he threatened the driver real quick. He's like, "Don't move," and he just took Seth out of the ambulance. I thought it was great. I loved it.
So the only thing I was going to say when we did them kind of out of order is when I saw this, the note that I had was, why wasn't this last? But then the Samoa Summit was really good too, so that was okay being last. But when that's happening, I'm like, this is the kind of stuff you go home on. Like, you go from this to Crisley, you know.
I'm going to be honest with you, Jared. You're right, but I thought that was last, and you're right, it wasn't.
It wasn't last. No, the
you're right.
Alexander Samoa stuff was last.
That's why I wanted to save it for last, because I actually, in my head, I thought that closed the show. And you're right, it was the Summit.
I've liked that before. You're mixing it up, giving different people different spots at the end, and the title doesn't have to be at the end. But with something this crazy, it could have been at the end. But who knows? I mean,
I would say
Strowman and Bobby Lashley blew up the set in the opening segment 2 weeks ago. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it should have been last. It should have been the what you remember. And in my head, it went last. I don't know how to explain that. I'm
assuming that's what you named the episode.
It is, yeah.
I'll tell you what Evan would have named it, because we talked about how, like, no Bray Wyatt happened. When it was all over, I said, it's time to go to bed. And he went, oh, good, it's over? No Bray Wyatt. I won't have nightmares tonight.
That's awesome.
I was like, did you have nightmares last week? And he's like, every time he's on television, I have nightmares. And I'm like, well, will you stop watching it?
At least he's not stopping.
No, he's not giving up. No.
Yeah, that's the way you handle it. You have a nightmare, you can't control that. You know, you've raised him to be a man. That makes me happy.
How to make man? You say man, I say sociopath, but whatever. Like, you know.
And on that note, we wish Jerry and Kelly, a very happy 14th anniversary. And to everybody else, we'll be back. Is it, what, are we doing Thursday?
Thursday, yes. Tomorrow's Spaghetti Wednesday.
Spaghetti Wednesday. So we'll join you on Thursday. Fingers crossed, I guess, because last week we said that and we weren't able to do it till Friday.
Listen, and then Friday came, and then I couldn't stop.
Look, it's Tuesday. It's SmackDown. It's your anniversary. I'm pulling for you to have a great night.
You know I'm not going to watch SmackDown.